Hi, everybody. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas holiday and celebration. And I'm going to start chapter 14 and 15 before we head into the new year. I'm wishing everybody a holy, happy new year. And look forward to the rest of our study through, I think it's April. We finish up usually right about Easter. So hopefully you are caught up and you're ready for chapter 14 and 15. Now, the rejection of Jesus as king and his conflict with the religious rulers was increasing. It was continuing, and it was moving toward a crisis. John the Baptist had been slain, and the first several verses of this chapter are like a flashback of what had been going on. And it's really very interesting. You're going to pay attention to this. Now, when Herod heard about the preaching of Jesus, he was scared. He was fearful. He was a fearful man. And his guilt over John the Baptist's death led him to think that his worst nightmares had come true. He had succeeded in silencing John the Baptist, but he hadn't succeeded in really handling his own guilty conscience. And when the news of Jesus reached the palace, Herod thought that John the Baptist had been resurrected. Now, John the Baptist had publicly condemned Herod and his wife for living immorally. Herod had divorced his first wife, and that was an arranged marriage, and it was to keep peace between the Arabs and the Jews. Now, when Herod met his brother's wife, his brother was Philip. When he met his brother's wife, he divorced his first wife and married his brother's wife. And actually, this woman was a half-niece to Philip and Herod. So the point is, she had married a half-uncle, divorced him, and married another half-uncle. Plot thickens. So, John the Baptist had condemned them for living immorally, because it was not lawful for Herod to marry his brother's wife. Leviticus 18:16 and chapter 21, verse 21. That describes the laws that Herod was breaking, if you want to check those scriptures out. Now, Herod was Jewish, and whether or not he cared about the Jewish laws, he did care about a revolt against him by the Jews. Now, there was already political tension over him divorcing his first wife. And so that was going on without John the Baptist bringing up his illegal marriage. Excuse me. His public denunciation of the incest and adultery was too much for them. And Herod's wife was brewing anger, and it turned into hatred. And she became ruthless in her attempt to have John the Baptist killed. Herod, on the other hand, he went in a hurry to kill John the Baptist because he was afraid of the people. The people considered John the Baptist a prophet, and for Herod to put to death one of the Jews' prophets could have caused a huge revolt in his territory and certainly would have created great discontent. So Herod hoped that just by stopping John the Baptist's public speaking and putting him in prison, that would end the problem and quiet his wife. However, she continued to nurse her grudge. Herod gave a big banquet. His wife sent for the daughter, Salome, and She was about 16 or 17. And in the banquet hall, to dance before Herod the king. She was to dance before Herod. Now, these were notable men from the government, the military, civil positions in Galilee. And they were officials, Mark 6:1. Now, few women of respectable positions would perform in such a way, but Salome's dance would gain approval from the all-male audience. So, when the dance ended, Herod offered her whatever she might ask and promised it on an oath. Her request was gruesome, and it was that she asked for the head of John the Baptist on a platter. Now, beheading was a Roman custom, not normal for Jewish execution. But Herod had to face the drunk, smirking officials, and he caved into the social pressure, and John's death was sealed. He realized what he had done and probably knew he had been trapped by his wife. So he's distressed for putting himself in this position in front of all these people. And he wanted to impress these people. And he actually considered John the Baptist a holy man, one he respected, but one he feared. Mark 6:20. He'd made a promise and sealed it with an oath. So such words were considered irrevocable. And if he backed out, it would show that he was not a man of his word, or that he was afraid of this unimportant prisoner. It's good to keep promises, however, because sometimes an execution is necessary. It may require a lot of embarrassing backtracking, but some promises need to be rescinded before they lead to greater trouble. The greatest burden of responsibility for this murder falls upon Herod. Now, he knew what was right, and he deliberately chose wrong. He placed information and desire before faithfulness and honesty.